Where your day begins on NCUFM, your education and wellness station. My name is Arnold Kelly, and I told you earlier that this week is Wellness Week, right? And so today we're going to be exploring naturopathy and migraine. Joining us, we have Dr. Michelle Hamilton, our naturopathic medical doctor, with us as usual. Good morning, Doc. How are you doing?
Good morning, Dr. Arnold, and all the first lighters. How are you this morning?
I'm good, and you sound excited. What
Yes,
is it that you completed your 10K walk this morning or something? I'm not sure.
I'm excited. I'm with a buzz because we're still in the best month of the year.
Oh, I see. I see. I see. I see. I see. There are many people who are confused as to which month is the best, but that won't be the subject of our conversation today. But
Yeah.
yes, February. February is a beautiful month. That's the month my mother was born. So that's
Oh,
yeah. All right. So this morning we're going to be looking at migraine. Now, the whole matter of migraine is something that it's a subject that many people talk about because of their personal experiences. I talk about it because of other people's experiences. I've only had literally two occasions on which I've had a headache, like two times,
oh,
two single times in my entire life, and
wow.
yeah, and those were in my adult years. So I cannot speak of headache from experience like that, but I have had some folks, family and friends who have had to deal with this on a consistent basis. And so I'm happy that we're able to touch that this morning. So, first of all, what is migraine?
Well, simply put, you just started talking about having a headache. So, pretty much, migraine is a headache that can cause severe throbbing or pulsating sensations or pain. Sometimes it's in one side of the head. Sometimes it can be generalized where the person will feel it across their entire brain itself or their head. Sometimes it comes with what we call light sensitivity or sensitivity to sound or even vomiting or nausea. So it depends on the person, but usually it's pain to one side of the head, or it can be generalized over the head. But
Mhm,
it pretty much ranges between throbbing and pulsating, and it's quite debilitating at times.
mhm. So you mentioned some triggers, but what would you say would be some one of or what is or what are some of the main causes of migraine?
It's interesting that you should ask that because in terms of just understanding migraine and trying to come up with what we call the pathophysiology of it, why does it occur? It's not fully understood as yet, but we do know that there are several things that may play a factor into different types of migraine headaches that are experienced. And there's some, small components that scientists are still researching that has to do with genetics. There's others in terms of environmental factors that can play a part of it in terms of environmental toxins. We also know that we have interactions with what we call the trigeminal nerve, which pretty much triggers a lot of headaches in terms of because that's really the pain pathway that really creates that problem. We also realize that chemical imbalances in the brain can be a major factor of causing a migraine. And one of them is serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter that signals between nerve cells. And that particular neurotransmitter has so many functions in the body. It helps to stabilize mood, makes us feel happier, give us a sense of well-being, right? So it plays a major role in terms of communication between the cells in your brain. It can even affect your sleep cycle and your digestive system. So that, and I mean, there are other chemical imbalances, but serotonin seems to be the top one in terms of research that can really impact or make a big difference in terms of the levels in the body and migraine headaches.
All right. So yeah, we see the chemicals at play again.
Yes, yes,
Yes, it's all connected, right?
yes.
What are some of the symptoms of migraine? Because we know that you say migraine and instantly one goes straight to headache, headache, headache.
Hmm.
But what are the symptoms? I mean, I figure there are headaches, and then there's migraine.
Okay.
I don't
All
know.
right, so the symptoms will vary because some persons actually progress through about four different stages. Some of them, they may not have the stages. So the symptoms may vary. So pretty much, you know that it can affect adults and children and teenagers alike, right? So we have, say, for example, four stages, which will give you an indication of what can happen. And I think our listeners will kind of relate to some of them. So we have first we call prodome, right, which happens 1 or 2 days before a migraine start, and they might notice subtle changes, right? That kind of tells them, I feel like I'm going to get a headache, based on these, and this can include constipation, mood changes, food cravings, neck, the stiffness of the at the back of the neck, frequent yawning. These persons will kind of say, "No, man." And as I say, it happens a few days or so before. And these persons will realize that this is always something, and then after that, they will have a headache or the migraine. Then you have aura. Some persons will notice that there's visual changes, right, that may occur during an actual migraine itself as well. And this would be like, for example, they're seeing bright spots or flashes of light or various shapes, right? Some of them will say, hey, I have, a vision loss briefly. Some will feel even pins and needles in their arms and legs. So it varies based on the individual. And as I say, not all persons will have all the symptoms leading to a migraine. They may not have all four, but some persons will notice this as well. And then you have the actual attack that can last, the actual migraine that will just start, and it can last for anywhere between 4 hours up to 3 4 days. I've met persons who say, I mean, I'm constantly experiencing migraines. It may be a very low one in terms of just minimal pain, but like it's just always there. I'm learning to live with it, right? And persons who will have this attack, they usually have the pain just coming on one side, right, of the head, and it's really throbbing or pulsating pain. And they'll have sensitivity to light or sounds or even smell. Something that they smell or even touch can make it worse. And sometimes nausea and vomiting. And then the last one we call the post drome, right? After a migraine attack, they generally feel like drained, right? Confused, pretty much just feel like, hey, I'm feeling wasted. No, I can't do a thing else, right? And for some persons, after that, they may just feel, hey, I'm happy again, right? I'm good, I'm fine, I feel energized. And pretty much that, I think that one would have a lot to do with the serotonin uptake that has happened at that time based on what they would do, because you'll be surprised. And if you stay with us for the rest of the week, some simple things that you can do that can increase that neurotransmitter, if that is your cause of your migraine, simple things that will make such a big difference. So yes, the symptoms may vary based on the different stages, and you may not go through all the stages.
Yes. So, okay. So the symptoms may vary, but is the headache a constant when it comes to migraine, or can someone have migraine and not get the headache?
Well, no, because remember, going back to the definition, migraine is a headache, so it's a pulsating
Okay.
pain.
Uh-huh.
It's just that some persons will have different symptoms prior to it,
Hmm.
which is not related to a pain in the head, like I talk about the prodome. So
Hmm.
they'll either notice a stiffness in the neck, the neck pain, or so that is different, but it tells you that it's leading up to a migraine headache in itself. Or they might notice the vision changes in itself. So those are preceding factors before the actual migraine would start, and it depends on what they do for intervention. It may
Yes.
delay that or pretty much avoid a headache at that point.
And you mentioned the flashing lights.
Yes.
Wow. Interesting. Interesting. The more you live, the more you learn. All right. All right. So we're going to go to a break. And when we come back, we're actually going to be taking a time break. And then we go into our healing herbs. And then right after that, we will pick up with our conversation on naturopathy and migraine. You're listening to NCUFM. It's your education and wellness station. This is First Light, where your day begins.
Get 100% financing on motor vehicle loans with up to 10 years to repay at First Heritage Cooperative Credit Union. The time by First Heritage Credit Union is
8:30. All right, morning everybody on this side. How you doing? It's been a while.
Yeah,
It's
very
been a
long.
while. Well, yeah, we were on last week for the acronym challenge, and now we're back. It's Wellness Week. All right, and I see Nightclot Shaw, Tammy Shaw.
Rosalind.
Yep, yeah, Donna Brown. We have yeah. We say good morning, morning, Annette Silvera. Annette is always with us.
Yes.
Wonderful.
I
Yeah,
see some new
Maxine.
names.
Yeah,
Rosalind
Maxine.
Fairclough.
Who's that? Where?
Rosalind Fairclough and Nikayla Gunn.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, I see
Yeah,
some new names. But I see
Rosalind.
Maxine and Annette and Thomas Marine
I
and Bev.
wonder if that Fear Club is somebody from Maroon Town. We had some Fear Club of that side.
Okay.
Back then, the older folks would say, Mr. Fear Club. Then as you
Yes.
get older, then you realize,
Yes,
yeah,
that's pronunciation, right?
yeah. Bev Gale, good morning, Bev. It's good to see Bev.
And Stephanie Smart and
Yeah, Stephanie
Diane
is back with
Morris.
us. Yes.
Diana
hmm
Morris.
Diana, and we've got who's this? That's
Yvonne
okay.
Forsyth.
That's Diana. Okay, yeah, and Yvonne. Good morning to you too. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, migraine. Is this something that any of you are, you have had to deal with, or have people in your family who suffer? Well, I
I
see
know
a
good,
hand. I
good
see a
thing
hand.
you get them answers when you ask them when it comes on. Or
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. What triggers it? You see the hand? You didn't see
Oh,
the hand. Look
oh,
again.
okay, yes, yes.
Yeah, I guess that Onesia is saying she knows somebody.
Somebody,
I
okay.
know. I know. She
Think
knows
you all
that
know
person very
somebody.
well. Yeah, you know somebody.
Yeah,
Or what did you say again? Your cousin? Your
your
cousin
cousin
friend?
or your auntie, brother,
Your
sister.
cousin friend. Yes.
Oh gosh,
Oh my goodness.
Sharon Cooper and Austin Dalrymple. Good
Ah,
morning to you.
Dalrymple, welcome. And also oh, Diana. Okay. Oh, Diana Morris.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay, this is who? Ruth.
Ruth Burrell.
Ruth Burrell. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. And great to have you here with us today as we look forward to another exciting
Onisia says
program.
hello from Maxine.
Mm-hmm.
And she raises
Maxine.
her hand.
Hello. Yeah. All right. See. Oh, yeah, man. All right. Stand by. We have about 30 seconds and we'll be back. Okay. Somebody here. Corel? Hoylet? Uh, oh. Let's see. Mhm. Yeah, man. Bishop Riley. I called him the other day. Yes. That's my friend.
Oh, Beverly Mitchell,
Didn't
thank you
get
for
him at
always
all.
tuning in.
All right. Yeah. This is
Blessings to
Beverly.
you
Okay.
too.
NCU family. I always tune into NCU radio. Continue blessing on this platform. Continuous blessing on this platform. Thank you. Thank
Saint
you so
Anne.
much.
She's from Saint Anne.
Right. And so the music tells me it's time to go back. All right. Good morning. Good morning again. This is First Light, where your day begins. Your program, of course. Well, of course, it's First Light, but this week is Wellness Week. And so we are here with you on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with Dr. Michelle Hamilton. Dr. Hamilton, you talked about the types of migraine earlier on, but I know that you hinted at some triggers and so on. But what would you say are some of the risk factors?
Ah, so risk factors now. That's quite interesting that you should note that or ask that question.
Mhm.
And we noticed that persons with chronic daily migraine will have the following. So number one, a female, female.
Oh, boy. You mean that's a risk factor? More women get migraine than I mean. I've heard. I realize that more women complain about it, but
Yeah,
um,
but they actually do. So being a female,
okay, okay.
persons who have a higher body mass index, who higher
Mm.
than 30. So if they're obese, that can play a factor in as well. If they suffer from depression, that can also play a factor because remember we talk about the neurotransmitter serotonin, which helps us to have those experiences we have in terms of our mood and feelings. So yes, depression is one of them. You would be surprised to know that in terms of research, they're linking it to even lower levels of education. Um, and I kind of wondered, like, why a lower level of education? Probably because persons, in terms of just life, what happens, what they experience, the condition in terms of the mind, their mental state, levels of frustration, hardship, stuff like that really does cause a lot of emotional inner turmoil that can create imbalance in your brain chemistry as well. So I would more link it to that, but not necessarily the knowledge itself, but the lack of the ability to really navigate in this world and access certain things because of the level of education can bring more mental, emotional, and physical stressors on you. Overuse of migraine medications, you'd be surprised, can also be a risk factor, right? Especially those medications that contain caffeine in it, right? So we have a whole host of persons who pretty much, because they suffer from migraine, and they have medication, they'll pretty much, hey, I feel like I'm going to get one, so I'm just going to take it in advance, right? The pain, or there's nothing there, but they consistently take it. So overuse of it, that the dependence or addiction to it, right? Just because of the fear. And if it contains caffeine, that would increase your risk for migraine as well. Drinking caffeinated beverages.
Before you even move on from
Mhm.
that one, I want you to emphasize that one because we find that many people they come with this idea that okay, if you take this, which is something that is intended to correct something,
Mhm.
many people think, well, okay, if you just constantly take it, it
Yes.
will prevent you getting it. But
Yes.
so I wanted to spend a little more time on that
It's
because I think that we miss
true.
it all the time.
Yes, we miss it all the time. And I think it happens a lot in my profession because persons will have a tendency of just taking things to benefit their health, is in terms of herbal medicine. And it's not, it's intended to fix something, but because you say you're trying to prevent something, you keep using it, and then it creates an imbalance in the body because you didn't have the problem in the first place. So pretty much going back to the medications for migraine, persons, because of how debilitating the migraine is, they would just say, hey, when I take it, it helps. So what I'm going to do, I think I figured it out. I just need to keep taking it at a low dose to prevent my migraine from ever occurring. And that now becomes overuse of it, which can create the same chemical imbalances. And especially if that particular medication has caffeine in it, you can end up having a more terrible experience in terms of your migraine, as well as increasing your migraine occurrences. So that's not a very good thing to do. It should be used as intended when intended. All right. So the next one I wanted to go back to is the caffeinated drinks because there's a lot of things that we have on the market that has caffeine in it. So you may not be drinking the coffee, but you need to look at their labels. A lot of things have caffeine in it. You'll be surprised, right? So you know that it's a stimulant too. So you want to make sure that you check the things that you're purchasing. And you know the easiest thing to do if you want something to drink, you drink what the body requires the most. Over 80% of your body is water. So pretty much drink water, and not the water with anything added to it, just plain drinking water, right? We also see an increased risk factor for persons who snore. And if somebody say, but I don't snore, get a recorder, press record and go to sleep, right? And in the morning, you check it and see what happens. If you don't believe that you do, or somebody tells you that you do and you don't believe, just say a trick and you'll get
it's
evidence for yourself.
It's true. It's so true because I've heard before, people saying, "Hey man, you are snoring down the place," and they're like, "But I don't snore." They say, "But
Yeah.
what you sleep alone, right?" Yeah. Okay. So how you know you don't snore? So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. And our cell phones can pretty much do that trick, right? Just put it on
Yes.
record and leave it. So, two other things I'd want to add to that is persons who have gotten a head injury. Yeah, they can end up with frequent migraines after that. And then if you have a stressful life event, or life events per se, then yes, that can also increase your risk factor as well. We do know that migraines tend to peak during the age of in the 30s, and then become gradually less or less frequent as you get older. And also the hormonal changes for women, that can be significant, and that is now, um, in terms of your menstrual cycle. So right before menstruation, that can happen. Even women, going into pregnancy or menopause can have that, and sometimes it can also get better as they are improved as they enter into menopause.
All right. And I see where someone is asking about the types of migraine. I know you had mentioned some things before.
If we look at the types, I think we looked at some of the symptoms.
The
So the
symptoms. Okay.
right, so yes, so the
So
types
it's a
of,
good time to look at the types then.
yeah. So this is where some persons will now say, yeah, this is one I have. So I mean, if you probably do your own search, you'll see so many different types of migraine. And I think this comes from what is reported by some persons when it comes on how it feels and stuff like that. So we have those who are, for example, the first one is chronic migraine sufferers, right? So it's a combination of tension, headache, and migraine. So it doesn't feel like a headache as yet, but you just feel a tension, a pretty much, this tension in your head, but it's not a throbbing or pulsating pain, but you can feel that tension building up at either one side, or the front of the head, or between the eyes, something, but you feel some form of tension building up, right? And this tends to be caused from the overuse again of prescription medication, right? And it not only for migraine education, medications, but it can be other medications that can be a side effect of that. Then you have the acute migraine now, and this is the more common form, which, pretty much, it's just an episode that would occur because you had a trigger, within a specific time frame, right? And so that will just randomly come on when you meet your triggers. Then we have the vestibular migraine now, and this type is associated with vertigo, right? Pretty much they'll have some form of dizziness, or balance problem, and it can affect persons of all ages, children, adults, you name it. But pretty much it can be prevented, with medication as well for vertigo. All right, so they need to speak with your ENT if you have experienced anything like that. And then we have the one we call the optical, which has to do with your eyes. So ocular migraine, right? So the dose in itself, is very, they're quite rare, but they can occur because of changes in your ocular or ophthalmic system. So pretty much anything's associated with your eyes, pretty much. So for those of you, if you notice that you keep getting it after a certain time of reading, and you wear glasses and you haven't been to the ophthalmologist recently, you probably want to go and get your glasses checked as well, because you pretty much can be experiencing eye strain that is actually triggering a migraine. We have menstrual migraines, and this is where most women will probably be able to say, yeah, I tend to have a migraine around that time and then no other time. So yeah, so those tend to come during the times of ovulation, just before the menstrual cycle begins, right? And the headaches can be very, very intense, and even have nausea accompanying with it as well. So those are the main ones. The hormonal ones, outside of just the menstrual migraine, you have other changes in terms of estrogen levels for women at times that can actually trigger a migraine as well, outside of just the regular menstrual cycle. So those, I think, would be the main types that we want to look at today.
Okay. And so understanding the type that you're experiencing would help you to understand how to manage it.
Yes, how to manage it, definitely. Because as simple, I mean, I am just going to, since that most of the persons who suffer from migraines are female, I want to point out the menstrual ones because there's a lot that you can do where that is concerned. Because if you have a lot of symptoms, we call premenstrual symptoms, sometimes it has a lot to do with what you eat, the cravings that you get right before that actually leads to those terrible symptoms that you would have. Not exercising, not drinking enough water, these basic things that we call, lifestyle factors, the basic lifestyle factors, not adhering to them. And you all did celebrations last week. That plays a huge part in migraine. If you know the acronym for celebrations,
Yes.
then yes, I think that can definitely be a few simple steps to make in the right direction that can make a difference to some of these hormone imbalances and the different types of migraine that you have.
That's interesting. As you mentioned that the fact that again we're seeing where it's all connected because exercise, for instance, as you mentioned, would play a major role in helping to reduce, to bring the body back into balance and help to reduce, and also diet.
Yes. So
Yes.
I think we're going to touch on that between Wednesday and Friday to go more in depth. So all of
Very good.
those learn the celebrations acronym. You're going to see how it play out in migraine.
All right. So, those who are just joining us and you're wondering what we're doing, it's Wellness Week. And so, when it's Wellness Week, we meet at this time, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we take on a particular topic. For this month, we're looking at naturopathy and migraine. Dr. Michelle Hamilton is here with us. Going to take a break. When we come back, we wrap up today's uh, Wellness Week feature. And of course, we pick up on Wednesday morning. All right. Stay tuned.
Importers provide proper invoices to customs when presenting goods for examination. This could prevent delays during clearance. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
8:46.
A learning moment on your education and wellness station.
All right. Ay, 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 ay. Let's see. We've got. Um. All right. Okay. Claudia Johnson Taylor, good morning to you. And she's saying,
Good morning, first lighters.
good morning, first lighters. Yes.
And we have Lenny Smith.
All right. We changed the font. Okay. Dorothy says, yeah, if diabetics, wow, have migraine often. Well, I guess it's something we're going to look at
With diabetes,
later.
maybe
Huh?
other factors.
Say it again.
So diabetes would mean that if you have diabetes, you're going to get headache. But
Uh-huh.
there are factors that will lead to it, just to say.
Oh,
So
okay.
we don't want to
And
pick a
and there are some things that they have in common too, in terms of,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, but not
Wow.
because you're diabetic, you're going to get more headache.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Stand by. Going back in. Okay. So now you know the types of migraine. You know about symptoms. You know about the some of the causes, and I think we touched some risk factors. And let's look at the diagnosis, though. When do you get to the place where the doctor will say, "Well, this definitely is migraine"? How is it diagnosed?
Sure. So it's one of the cheaper issues to be diagnosed because you won't necessarily go in and the doctor wants to run some tests unless based on examination,
Mhm.
it seems a little bit more complex and how suddenly it comes on and how severe it is. They may want you to do imaging. But in general, it's pretty much your medical history. So you'd have been going to a physician repeatedly with migraine. So it's pretty much your medical history, the symptoms, and a physical and neurological exam, which is done in office to be able to diagnose it. As I said, outside of that, there has to be other complex or sudden symptoms that are there that would warrant you to do an either MRI or a CAT scan to see if there's any changes or damages in terms of blood vessels in the brain or anything else outside of that to say, it's been caused from something else. But pretty much it's your history and a routine physical and neurological exam along with looking at your symptoms, and you'll have a diagnosis.
All right, so it's pretty easy then, as you said, and not a costly one because you won't need many machines to diagnose.
Right.
Even though, I mean, I don't know, there's some people who might overreact because, for instance, the first time I got a headache, I called my doctor and I insisted, and he told me, he said, he said, Arnold, you don't need uh, a CAT scan, you don't need. I said, look, I'd love to get an image to see because there's nothing. I've never had a headache all my life, so
Mhm.
I'm thinking something probably is growing in my head. And after a while, he said, "You know what? Okay, if that's gonna make you come back,
Mhm.
my it was fine." But many of
There
us we
there are
overreact.
cases though. So when individuals, so one of the things we listen out for is when persons will come and say, "This is the worst headache of my life." Like,
Yes,
yeah. So there are certain, in terms of severity of it,
yes.
doctors would want to rule out any form of hemorrhaging in the brain or anything that. So yes, so there are indications based on how the patient presents. That's why the physical exam is important. How the patient will present, that will warrant that yes, we definitely need to do imaging. And I can use myself as an example too. I used to have migraine headaches that would just come on at a certain time of day, each day, and pretty much only at work. And once I got home, everything was fine. But my doctor, which is an excellent physician, might I say, um, his name is Dr. Tomlin Paul. Yes, excellent physician. He realized in just his assessment and knowing my medical history, very important, right? To have a physician who you pretty much consistently will go to. And I
Mhm.
don't go to when you're sick because I had never been sick. I would just go in for regular visits once in a while. So yes, you want to have a doctor that you can talk to, you can visit for your regular physical or annual exams. You don't need to present when you are sick, right? You're supposed to get exams outside of that because this is what told him that no, I'm pretty healthy. Never presented with flu, nothing at all. So why would I be suddenly starting to have headaches? And that led him to run blood tests and imaging and stuff, which revealed that I did have a brain tumor, and that contributed to the headache. And once that was pretty
Wow.
much resolved, then there was no more headaches. So
Mm.
yes, there are times when it would be warranted.
Interesting.
Having that
And
history with a physician that knows you would pretty much know when to
mhm,
assess that.
wow. Funny enough, years ago, I was thinking that once a headache, if it's a regular headache, if someone is complaining about a constant pain, like that's just going like this, that's a regular headache. And if it's going like throb, 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 then it's migraine. So I'm
Mhm.
seeing now that there's more to it.
Yes, much more to it. Yes, because you have different pain patterns, so it
Uh-huh.
presents. Yes.
Interesting. All right. Well, I know if you are someone who has been, having to deal with migraine all this time, then this is your week. So, Wednesday, we will be picking up and we'll continue the conversation as we talk more about naturopathy and migraine right here on NCU FM. And, Doc, is there anything you want to leave with our listeners along with your contact information?
Sure. So I know you have a lot of persons who are suffering from migraine. You know them. So I'm going to ask you to share this today's episode with them. And for those of you who want to have your migraines be treated with naturopathic medicine, you need to listen to the rest of the week's program. If you want to set an appointment in Kingston, you can call 934-1626. If you're out of town and you don't want to come in, we do telemedicine as well. You can contact me at my email address. Go to drmichellehamilton at drmichellehamilton.org. You'll see contact information for me there for email.
Right.
If you want to come to Manchester, which I'll be there next week, you call 876-677-998 to set an appointment.
All right. Well, Doc, I want to thank you again, and we look forward to Wednesday morning when we pick up the conversation. We talk more about naturopathy and migraine right here on your education and wellness station, NCUFM. God bless. Right on time, right? And I got my remote. All right. So let's see. Guys, we want to thank you so much, so much, so much for spending the time with us. And yeah, I want to say good morning to the Maroon Tone group. Yeah, shared the link in there this morning. And yeah, so anybody who's watching for the first time, yeah, feel free to say so. Yeah, yes. And we want to thank you. And remember, share the link with others who you think will need this information. Doc.
Yes. You're ready to go with that thing?
Yeah, I got it. I got it. I got it. Yeah. So, folks, enjoy the rest of the
First
day.
timers.
Yeah, God bless you. And next program, I might have to join you live from Maroon Town because I'm gonna have to be down there.
Okay,
Yes, for
nice.
Wednesday morning. Yes. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, God bless you. See you next time. And let me draw for the remote now. Blessings, everyone. Maxine says, and Annette says bye. Glennis says bye. Bev Gill says thank you. Have a wonderful day. God bless you. Bye 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 bye.